Hi guys, Randy here at RT on Twitter, and this is another episode of Earnings Season. Just giving you a quick heads up for this one. Those of you following Twitter would have known that one, we are on a hell of a break. We've been on a break for a little while now, and two, I said we're coming back, right? So, step on a coming back is that we have to tie up any loose ends. So, one loose end that we had going for a while was our total market review. We were right near the end, and what you're going to hear in this episode is us wrapping that up. We moved from Sagicor, Jamaica, all the way to, I think, XFUND. Myself, my co-host, and I, who you'll hear, and Schaunn, Henel, and Vidal. Sorry, Schaunn, Henel, and Nicholas. Henel is Henel Vidal, sorry. So, you'll hear from me, my co-host, Danai, and the guys from 876 Invest here. I do my best to try and name everybody when they speak, so if you're not sure who's speaking, just listen for a while and they'll be named. The voices are pretty distinct, so you'll recognize the guys. I just want to say thank you again to 876 Invest for doing this with us. And thank you guys for being patient, and those of you listening now, I hope it's worth it. There are a couple of good gems in this episode, I think. And let me not try and name any, you guys will hear them when you listen. So yeah, enjoy. Links as always to some of the articles mentioned in the episode are in the show notes, so check your show notes, and I hope it was good, and thanks again for your patience. You're listening, give us a thumbs up, tell us that you're happy to be back, send us a tweet. If you're an Apple user, if you're listening on your iPhone or your iTunes, leave a comment, leave a review, give us 5 stars, please. It goes up far away, especially with rankings. So please, if you're back, we're back. If you're happy that we're back, you like the content, let us know. All right. So I will not take any more of your time. Let's get into the episode, and I hope you enjoy. One last thing, let me point out that I do know that the sound from a couple of the guys is not the best. It was actually pretty bad, but this is as best as we could get it cleaned up. So I know that you might not be hearing them very clearly, but I think every point at which it gets really bad, I did manage to get them to repeat, so you won't miss anything. So if something isn't clear, either rewind it a little bit or just listen a little bit more, and chances are we ask them to clarify. Alright?
Next up, we have the actual Sagicor Jamaica, which I know we've spoken on a million times. I know the guests say something on it, and then we'll move on to Stanley Matter. The Sagicor Group Jamaica. How you guys feel about it? Let's start with Henel. Oh, what?
Dundas with the bigs.
Or the silent twins.
Roy, I don't know. All right, well.
Tell us Dundas.
So we spoke about them a little bit earlier as well with the big. I like Sagicor. I like that Sagicor. They are a company that likes to nurture what they have. They I think they focus on quality, and we saw that where what's the name of it? They had acquired something. I can't remember right now. Where they had basically increasing capacity for insurance. Someone who was basically dead, but they brought them in and nurtured.
Oh, they bought it from NCB, right?
Remind me. Yeah, remember the name? What a mercy.
I like
the point is they.
The advantage.
Advantage
general.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just like that Sagicor. They. They do, as I said, they nurture the services. I think that they're a company that is keen on efficiency, and I think that long term that's going to help them. I think that also it's good in terms of, well, not for me personally, because it's kind of too long for my life. But I think that they are well diversified. They try to put a hand here and there. But for right now, especially in the same financial sector landscape where we have to expect losses based on the changing environment. Right now it's not really the best time for them, but it's still a strong company. Sagicor, was it like 18 successive years or quarters of revenue growth up until last time?
Yeah, that's so impressive. Yes.
Yeah,
I think it was almost 20. Was it 20?
Let me read. Last time I recall was 18, but the point is it was a lot. And I think that's something that you can't really ignore. Consistency in improvement in a company is very important, and that makes them, especially at that size. So that puts them on a pedestal for me. But right now, specifically given the climate, I would say, I mean, this is obviously not advice. This is just my personal opinion, But yeah, that's my little quick.
You're not feeling them right now. You think that what's the last thing that they reported to us?
In terms of profits.
What I mean, their last reporting period. What was it? I'm trying to remember. Have they told us up to March?
I cannot recall anything.
I don't know if they've actually reported up to March. I think it maybe December.
Before that, I haven't seen a such report in a long time.
Yeah, I think their financials were delayed as well.
Yeah, their financials.
Oh no, they
been
have.
delayed.
Oh no, they did.
They
posted the card.
Yeah. Because I know it was in the Sagicor financial numbers, meaning the parent company. I don't know if it hadn't come out as yet. But no, it had come out. It had come out for Q1 2020.
In the midst of all of this, the price makes it kind of attractive.
The price makes it kind of what?
Attractive.
Yeah, to you?
I mean,
and this is a current
this
price
coming from where it's coming from. 45 coming from start of the year 72.
It started the year at
in the lowest
58.
The lowest like 36 or something like that, 38. We're still near enough to the lowest part point of the year.
Boy, I mean, I could easily see it being undervalued here, even though we know finance stocks tend to be generally undervalued on the local market, historically undervalued on the local market. But the effect of the expected credit losses have to be considered, right? If they're not already included. But if they can grow, they're in a good place. I think they're in a good place if they can grow and continue the growth. They had some net profit slippage and some revenue slippage, which is concerning because it only goes up to March. Yeah, so the April, May, June might be the painful quarter for them. And the group itself is still impacted by so many things. I think the most interesting thing maybe is the XFUND move within the group, the parent buying some of XFUND from them. Is that it?
Hello? Was that how it worked? Or was it? Hold on.
Or it was just that they were just buying some XFUND shares?
Not XFUND, Flyer shares.
Flyer shares.
I know they bought Flyer.
I was like, hold on, wait. It wasn't XFUND.
Yeah, they bought Flyer. I'm not sure if there was anything else but that. I know for sure they bought Flyer.
Sorry, I meant to say the parent company buying XFUND shares from buying Playa shares from XFUND, or was it just that they were buying
Playa shares?
Playa shares.
Who did they buy the shares from?
In the article I saw, I didn't recall seeing XFUND. I know I saw something. Maybe I wouldn't remember.
That's just something that came to my mind that I would have remembered. That would have jumped out to me. That's all. But I don't know if that actually happened. Meaning I don't know if it's from XFUND that they bought the Playa shares.
It appears to me to not be that way, because the article where it says Sagicor parent buys stake in Playa, it reads, the Sagicor network now holds 16% of Playa shares, mostly through Sagicor Group Jamaica and its managed funds. So that does sound to me like they bought it from Sagicor in any way, XFUND or whatever.
Oh, so doubling down.
Or the parent.
Most of which belong to who though?
Mostly through Sagicor Group Jamaica and the managed funds. So Sagicor network overall, the whole entire group from overseas come down holds 16% of the Playa shares. Most of that is through the Sagicor Group Jamaica and the funds that they manage.
Are you looking on
Wednesday, July 8th, Glean article, Sagicor parent buys stake in Playa.
And they're sending the SEC form.
Okay, yeah, then I said in it form. Yeah, sometimes those
the inside, I hate listening to that.
The wording there is very ambiguous, right?
Yeah, it can be.
Mostly through the Jamaican group and its managed funds. Who's managed funds? Jamaican group's managed funds or Sagicor Financial's managed funds?
I get you.
Yeah, companies lie. CEOs lie.
Yeah.
Because you see, that's not very clear. That's like, I know I say I don't know, Karen. I said I don't know, Karen. You get me? Yeah. But we never know so she really named Trina. That's why I save her as Digicel. So Sagicor's fates are tied to a bunch of different things. A bunch of different things, and I think there's a lot of reorganization going on in the group. I am very risk averse, believe it or not. I don't like jumping into things that I can't see my way out of clearly.
Yeah.
And this is a level of uncertainty that I am not necessarily comfortable with yet. But wherever there's risk is a hallmark of profit. Wherever there's risk, there's profit. So somebody can gain from this eventually. Just a matter of how long you'd have to wait. So next up we have Stanley Matter Limited, which is a nice quick one. Because it's what is Stanley Matter Limited? 1 billion?
Well, not 1 billion, but one address.
One address, so one complex.
Yeah.
All right. One complex along Halfway Tree Road, and they make the money from their tenants, right? And it's really one big tenant, which is a BPO.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right. And the BPO employ a couple hundred people and has a bigger effect within the area. It's in the Halfway Tree area, so hundreds of people that eat food. There's a huge tail effect to it. I'm saying that so people can understand why you can't easily lock down, because you can't send them people home or lose a contract, because you see how many knock-on companies will get hurt, including Stanley Matter. Stanley Matter itself make it money from rent from those BPOs, or from that BPO and its other clients, right, on the complex. And I think the only thing that would affect them is if the rent comes into question, right? And so I remember somebody saying something about the rent recently. I don't know if you saw an article on that, Danai, or you saw anything on them on the rent. No, something I think like the tenants, because I mean the concern is if the BPO loses clients, then the BPO can't pay its rental bill, which means that Stanley Matter would immediately have a
Article
bit
1
of
month ago,
impact.
Stanley Matter working on payment plans for COVID affected tenants.
Ouch. How'd that go?
Training.
All right, yeah. So we understand how that might be a big deal, because that is their direct money. I won't read the whole article. I will put it in the show notes, but I'll give you just very quickly. Their biggest client, I believe, is Alorica, which is almost a dirty word in Jamaica these days. So Alorica, which is also why Alorica couldn't lock down. Wow, I wish I had known that before I said it. So yeah, they have lease agreements with Alorica, and Alorica obviously needs to pay the bill for them to get paid. Second is GNAC, which I suspect GNAC will pay their bills, because I think they share some interest there, if not some leadership. And Transaction ePins, which is another company within, I think, a family group. Yeah, that's all Stanley Matter comes on to me. I mean, I don't own any, and I probably will never own any, but I as far as I'm seeing it, I mean, they come down to rental. People either pay their bills or they don't, and if they can't pay their bills, then Stanley Matter did. But because so many of these companies have such good ties with Stanley Matter, I believe Stanley Matter is within the same. Do they have any obvious link to any other listed company than
Jenna. I think there's a building on complex. Jenna building on complex, yes.
I don't. I know GNAC is one of their clients. Is one of their tenants, definitely. But I don't know if there is an obvious public link between them other than that business transaction.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I suspect GNAC will continue to pay their bills. I don't know if Alorica will be able to continue to pay their bills. And I think that is what's important. And if they are, then that's what they are. But they're a real estate company. That's boring stuff, right? Meaning it's same old, low and slow money. Yeah. But you're right. I see they mention in there, I'm just glancing through, and I see they mention in their COVID-19 outlook that they have some capital projects for the year. which they pushed to next year, 2021. And so they said that they don't expect any short-term financing issues to affect them, but they do continue to monitor. It come down to the rent. That's all. It come down to the rent. As long as people keep paying their rent, they'll be good. People stop paying their rent, they're in worries. So as long as Alrica stay open, or if Alrica close, somebody else come in, then they're good. Otherwise, worries. Next up, SOS. Station and Office Supplies. A nice junior market company. I haven't seen one of those in a while.
Like that company, but Jesus, that rough. Corona is not me.
Rough.
Corona.
Yeah, man.
It's not
That's
nice to
rough.
them.
Yeah,
That's all I have to say.
rough
That's
right
rough.
Yeah. Work from home.
Not
Hey,
happy.
See, they push.
who knows
They
how
push
many
Work from
people buying
home.
desk, you know?
They're
Come
pushing
on
for
now.
thing there. They're pushing. That's it. They have a social media push, a marketing push. Hey, if you want to build a home
Girl.
office,
Yeah, you know. I mean, I bought a
Yeah.
desk, but it wasn't just because Corona. But yeah, I don't know how many people going to do that, you know?
build up a home office.
Or how much revenue you're going to make up as opposed to like people. I know my mother's workplace, for example, had like contracts where them say, all right, every such and such time, we need this. I gonna need it. I don't, but right now, like half of my mother's office is not in office. So
Exactly, yep. Everybody trying to save on that expense line.
yeah, we don't need all of that stuff. So you can keep about 3/4. So
Wow.
yeah, like what happened in that case? You know, like the revenue. I don't know. It's sticky.
Wonder we had shorting.
Indeed. Because SOS would be an interesting short, right? Because also when you're home, you use a lot less of the office printer, the office everything. So stationery itself also get a limit. Schools, they bought seats, the notebooks. Schools out immediately. Damn. They're like half a term gone and now we're in summer.
And then there's no real back to school now.
Yeah. What they had in terms of expansion, they had Grenada. They were shipping stuff to Grenada. But nobody's it's the same thing in Grenada, I'm sure. Nobody's going to work, nobody's going to school right
And
now.
I saw an article, that three universities in Jamaica are looking to just have classes online the next semester.
That's actually not what that article says.
Isn't that what it said?
What it says,
Well,
no. What it says is they're gonna have a blend. So,
No, it says
like
that
they're saying,
it says
Nah,
both. No,
they
it says that
saying,
they're doing some are doing blended and some are just doing fully online.
yeah, and some are still doing everybody. I
UE,
think the major
UE,
UE,
UCC,
NCU,
and UCC.
and something else.
Yeah, so UE, UCC, and NCU are going online. So they say like some of the bigger classes will have either fully online or both online and in person for
No, not for the big
formats.
classes.
But
Then for the,
the smaller one them will still be in person.
Well, they'll try to accommodate
Yeah,
some in person, but the big classes for sure will be on.
The overarching point is that it's going to be decreased significantly.
Yeah, they're not going 100% face to face. It's pretty much what they're saying. They're like, we're not talking 100% face to face in September.
Yeah, so this whole
school fee.
Actually, for my program they reduced my school fee by 15%.
Really?
I wish.
Yeah.
I wish you would send me back 15% of my school fee.
Wow,
but I was
send back.
Yeah, I was a good youth and paid before exams and all of that. I'm not get back no money.
No man.
Oh, paid. No, it's a brand new semester. That's why.
Oh.
Pay per semester for my thing.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. But that's funny. I don't think UE can actually. I don't think can keep up the blended thing. Too much of their revenue is linked to having people on campus.
Yeah.
Remember, say as far as we know, they still have to pay 138 student living.
That is true.
So them can pay 138 student living 90% of that money versus bringing the students and make them do it. Yeah, you mask up and go school. Trust me.
Yeah, I was really surprised to say that because I really thought that they would push to have us back at school for that reason.
I'm sure they're working it out. I mean, on the flip side, if I can charge you, I'll give you back 15%. So if I can charge you 85% of your school fee, but I can reduce my running costs by 30 or 40% because you're not there, it might work out. So I end up with more cash.
But I really want to say that's fate because my thing was MSBM, which is different management from like UA as a whole. So UA,
Okay.
yeah. So MSBM has the money to most likely. I mean, I don't know how much money they have, but we all know this different from UA. So UA probably won't really have it like that for game.
But you should know by now, say, look outside our business and say them have it is a different thing than when you look inside, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Remember, say there are people who think that the CPJ box deal can save CPJ.
Oh, of course not.
Yeah, that's funny
The
you
last
mentioned that.
Mary still not.
Because SOS said them increasing production for the back to school, but we don't even know how back to school going look right now.
They said that?
Yeah, there's a loop article that I'm looking at right now.
What regular school times?
Ooh.
How were they
For
doing?
when
Boy.
That's a good question, Danai. How were they doing?
So increased production going to mean what for them exactly?
The man them start off the March report, the first quarter report with a promise. Like when you know something bad, you have to go tell your mother. Listen, I left. You always say I was leave school early. I left school early, right? And I was heading straight home past the game shop, right? And as heading into January of 2020, SOS was prepared to continue to reach new heights. And for the first 2 months of the year, everything was going as expected.
Then everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked.
Right? Oh wow. That is how powerful that show is. I've never watched that anime and I know exactly what you're talking about. Damn.
Do better.
The greatest, honestly.
Do better, Andy.
But yeah.
Wow. In January, we exported our first container of the year with products being delivered to Grenada and had plans for an additional 2 overseas projects to be delivered during March and April. And then the Fire Nation. I mean, but the first 2 months of the year had SOS on target to surpass our best quarter ever, which was in the first quarter of 2019. The man really set it up. I mean, really, I was saving all this money, right?
Would I try my best?
Open. Yeah.
But then the Fire Nation.
Yeah, SOS is going to really go through some pressure. And there's a part of me that loves when a small company goes through pressure like this, because that's when you often see changes happen. That's why you see them either show them true potential or you see somebody else show them potential and come in. But it always changes things. Looking on the top 10 of them, though, QWI is the number 3 shareholder.
Boy.
And number 10, according to them, is Bridgestone Management Services Limited. I don't know if that's a Barbadian company or a typo. SOS themselves is going to have to go through it. Like going to say it rough.
Yep.
I don't know anyway, because I also don't think people at home buying books for them kids like that.
And if so, it would not be anywhere near outside.
Yeah. But then when the years start back, it'd be good to talk to a parent on that. Because they said the years start back, and yes, the child has to be home, right? Cool, the child is home. But what do I buy for the child? Do I buy the same books? Well, I want to know what parents actually think. Are you going to buy the same Seek books for your kids?
Yeah.
I have a younger sister.
If you're working from home, what do you print? Oh, well, tell us, Schaunn.
Yeah, so honestly, my mother has just been, we're still trying to figure out fully what school in September is going to look like. But my mother is kind of just waiting to see. So she's not really doing a whole heap of the spending from now, or planning to do it even in a July or beginning of August, because she says she's waiting to see what happens. And people in work seem to be sharing, in my office, they seem to share similar sentiments with her, like they're trying to wait to see what's happening. So whatever is happening now in this current term, they would have already had the tools for. So it's not like you needed to. I don't know how many new books you'd need to buy midterm as opposed to at the beginning of the term. So like that spending, I don't think is gonna be as big. But for the next coming in September for the school year and everything, that big shopping, the people said they're really waiting to see what the school is even gonna look like before they start to spend on that. So I don't know if they're gonna be buying books right now or pencils, pens, those kind of things.
I won't ask what school, but like what level school? High school, prep school, what level?
Mostly high school people is who I've been talking to, just based on.
No man, for your sister.
Oh, my sister is in high school.
High school.
Yeah, my sister is in high school.
Okay. I don't know, when I think Seek books, I think prep school, primary school.
Yeah, same.
As well.
Or the big book of police by.
The
The big police book them are Seek.
The big,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
What I'm figuring is if the mentality, even if they may not, so even if like the people are not buying seat books, I'm figuring the mentality might be similar. So if you're holding off on buying school supplies until you know what school is like, then it doesn't matter if you're buying a seat book or a meat book, because you're holding off to see what it look like.
Oh, I get you.
Yeah, so
sense.
that's really where it
Makes
was.
sense.
So yeah, that's where I was tackling it from based on those conversations.
That's true. I like that sort of thinking, and the company point is a major point. I mean, if my employees are working from home, I'm not rushing to buy more printer paper. But I'm still sending you the email that says print this off and rain. I'm just not thinking about how you're buying your printer.
Indeed, yep.
Facts.
All right. Yeah. And the SOS truck used to come here and I used to pay them.
I don't.
But I don't know how you buy it. Maybe you go Fontana and buy it.
Who knows?
Well, you need to get that printed.
Yeah. Or
You have to print
or
it
you
now.
might not do, yeah, or you just don't print it. Yeah. So that sort of shift really is a major thing for them. And the furniture also is another one, because if I had any refurbishing to do now, I'm not doing it.
And one of their largest
waiting.
customers is the BPO sector too. And most of those guys are,
Yeah,
they're still open,
Huh?
They're still open.
Yeah, but
BPOs?
they're open, but I think a lot of them are trying to find a way to implement some form of remote work.
A lot of them are.
Yeah, a lot of them are.
Yeah, so people who are remoting, but even on a more permanent basis, what I'm saying. So like they're working remotely now because of pandemic. But I think based on, again, friends that I have who work in the BPO sector, I'm not really speaking to a lot of the higher ups and those things, but just based on what they have heard from their people, it seems that if they can find a way to secure certain information, which they have been, as we see, people are working remotely. So there's some form of security, but so I think based on what those conversations have led me to believe is that in some of these BPOs, there are policies being developed for after COVID, there to be a remote work policy within the business itself.
But you know that remote work thing has been going on for a while, because I know somebody that has been, when they were in the BPO sector, they were working from home, and this was from last year. So
yeah, I know people have done it, but on a general,
Yeah, it's something that they have been doing. I was watching Kalila show as well, and one of the persons that came on.
Big up Kalila.
Yeah, big up Taking Star. Oh, and
pot cover.
So you're that excited about the show.
One of the things that a hotel manager that came on said is that a call center actually rented out some of the rooms at a reduced price to host some of their workers in while they work. Yeah, really? That was a very interesting point I found.
And in Cayman?
No, this is in Jamaica. Yeah.
Really? Word.
Yeah, so.
Word. That is a good. That is interesting. That's out of synergy. Yeah. Luckily, there are no listed hotels anymore. Well, technically, ouch. Technically, because there is XFUND. So SOS will like it, but not right now. I'm going to have to go through the file. SSLVC, the long-term wow story on the JSC is our next one. I'm putting this squirrel at your feet, Danai.
All right, boy, Gano. So as it stands, so they. I think they're not. I don't think they're in the best place right now.
Nope.
They've sold one of their portfolio companies back to the principal. So big up Larian. Do that. Bought back their stake from SSL. But I'm gonna say the page up. SLVC. They're auto thing there. So Muse and I don't know, is Muse still operational?
I do not know, but I do not think so. But I
Yeah.
do not know for
And we
sure.
had a recent leave for one of their companies.
The Bar Central founder and CEO has moved
left.
on to the business in something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, real estate, I think.
I think that's their. I think that would be one of their only operational places. So, why?
Yeah, it might be different for them. And then I see that they're owned by the SSL
group,
and the SSL group seems to be reorganizing itself in a different vehicle to do the business that this company does.
Yeah.
It would seem that way to me.
Yeah, they're doing the exact same thing. It's just that the new thing that they formed, Delta Cap,
I wouldn't say the exact same thing.
Larger investments, basically.
The thing, so Delta, there was an article. I'll bring it up. Delta. There's an article.
What's it called?
Delta Cap.
Delta Cap, I think.
Oh, Delta Cap. Okay, yeah.
Harding Croskery private equity investments, and it speaks. There's a line in there that might indicate that, because so SSLVC and Delta Cap is speaking of itself as a PE firm and
a private
equity firm. So VC is private equity. It's just, how the industry they talk. They use these words to say different things. Well, VC is private equity. It's at a different stage for them than private equity people usually speak of.
Mm-hmm.
So VC is venture cap. You start out and you need some
venture
money.
Capital.
Yeah. So somebody invests in you. PE is we're at whatever stage and we look good, and this guy with private money will come in. VC Delta did speak to the type of investments they'll be doing.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember what size industry they said they'll be going after? I mean, I'll be honest, I have no idea what the hell is going on in the SSLVC.
Yeah.
And I've heard about like share movements and ownership disputes.
Yeah.
And I just don't have a clear view.
So I really don't know where this leaves SSLVC right now, to be honest. I really don't know where this leaves SSLVC in their eyes, because I can see where things that could be taken up by SSLVC can be taken up by Delta Cap instead.
Yeah, that overlap is concerning to me, and I mean, it'd be good to bring it up at their AGM. When last have they had an AGM? I remember I literally can't tell the last time they had I've heard about an AGM from them. Maybe they've had one and we just don't know, but
so
I just
so you saw something. There's a line inside the article. Or one feeds into the other. Delta Cap will have private equity deals, and SSL as a brokerage will lead the fundraising for Delta Cap and get paid for doing that. Harding said, SSL Growth Equity Family is made up of 4 companies: SSL Asset Management, SSL Capital, SSL Jamaica, and its listed subsidiary SSL VC. Through SSL VC, the group backs startups with equity injections ranging between $250,000 and $1 million. Delta Cap is looking to take anywhere between 5% and 51% in larger venture companies with better cash flows and a potential to scale up than those targeted by SSL VC.
Okay, so they're saying that Delta Cap definitely exists in a realm
separate
from. Yeah,
so this,
but I'm sure. I shouldn't say I'm sure that they'll have some overlap.
And so it plans to be more actively involved in the day-to-day operations of the business.
Okay.
So.
And what the name? Are they actually called SSLVC, or they told us at one point that they're changing to Boost Ventures?
I think that's squash. Boost, no, I don't think that's a thing anymore.
Did they squash the name change? They told me that they're changing the name.
Boost. Yeah, I remember something else. I didn't want to speak out of turn.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Suffice it to say that I don't think I'll be buying SSLVC anytime soon. I'm not even sure what's happening in there. I'd love to get some clarity.
Yeah, SSLVC hit snag as it seeks a new name to boost Outlook. Jano. I'll send you both articles.
Oh, wow. Yeah, yes, please. We're wrapping up, so let me push through to the end here. The next company we have is SVL, Supreme Ventures Limited. Which one I guess want to take that because I know it. Somebody
Dundas.
mentioned it earlier
Dundas.
too.
Love.
You're the man.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Can call
The
you
first convo
I
me ever
wanted
have
to-
with
Me a
Dundas,
shout
not about
Dundas.
SPL.
Oh wow, I was muted and talking. I kind of have a little, I kind of have a little gaming bias. I don't want to get too into the US market, but I also own DraftKings. A similar matter.
You also own what? Could you repeat that?
DraftKings.
Oh, DraftKings. Okay, the betting company.
Yeah. The Supreme Ventures, when I had first seen them, what my eye was cash. I found that they generated a lot of cash, their revenues, and I thought that as a result of having that much cash on hand and be able to generate whatever they started, which was generally through acquisitions. I appreciated how much they were aggressive with acquisitions. Every 2 weeks, if so much, you see an article saying they bought out a percentage of somebody. They bought out any bet, they bought out
Post.
uh yeah, I didn't listen, but they bought so many, and I thought that they were positioning themselves to be the superpower in at least the region when it comes to the
You thought?
betting and gaming.
So you don't think that anymore?
I still think so. Yeah, I still think so. I just meant what happened when they first caught my eye.
Mm.
So yeah, I still do think so. The one drawback I can think of now is obviously like Cayman's expenditure. Well, expenditure rates to Cayman, but I don't think that's.
Corona has
I
not
mean,
been
it's
kind to Caymanas.
what's that?
Corona has not been kind to Caymanas.
At all. But I mean, it's a part of. I don't. It's a part of Caribbean culture. We are gamblers. It's the reality, and I don't think that, especially with them having their hand going further and further across the region, they expanding to Guyana recently. I think. They
Been a while now.
What's that?
It's been a while now.
Oh, the Guyana.
Yeah, man. They made the push and they're looking at the thing there, the digital betting and the app they have, which want to push strongly out here too.
Mm-hmm. And that's one thing I'm looking forward to as well. The app, to have the online platforms and all.
But they also announced two new things recently. I wonder what you think about them. They're pushed to Africa.
I never hear about the push to Africa. You told me, say.
I was messaging earlier. But yeah, they're pushing to Africa. They want to open business down there and stream basically. And they're also looking to set up a tour, I believe, where they can come to the SL. They were partnering. Who were partnering with?
Chuka.
SV.
Wasn't that tour with
Chuka? Yes.
That tour
Chuka with the SV.
SVR. So you go down to the racetrack and give you this whole rundown of the history and all that. So that'll be some extra revenue for them. So funny, they become a tourist site now at this point.
And even without these major things, every minute they still have a new game. Like they always find a way to have us involved, and in bits and pieces, increase in the revenue stream.
Mm-hmm.
And those are, I mean, as I said, I love seeing companies that generate cash properly.
Aggressive company.
If I was supposed to, I don't want to get too deep into like what actual company valuation is, but what the value of a company is, the intrinsic value is what their assets can produce for them, right? And Supreme Ventures, they produce cash. They produce their revenues. They make revenues from their assets consistently, and they grow with it a lot. So, I like that. I like that a lot. And I care about management as well. So,
and an interesting point I heard again Ryan Strand speak about was that when he was watching the prime minister's speech on the coronavirus one day, in the middle of it they cut into it to have the Supreme Ventures. Supreme Ventures.
There's nothing stopping Lotto.
And I'm like, bro,
nothing stops like
I think Randy spoke on that before.
Cash pot another half a job.
Cash pot half a job, brother. People catch the rake, you can't make them don't see it, you give me.
It's also a measure of the transparency.
Yeah.
Like you can't have something like that and not broadcast. You already know the perception of something like that. If it has to be in front of people so they can trust that the draw no fake, them type of thing there. So
Right. So yeah, I think there. I mean, obviously, we know about Corona making it worse for the racetrack, but overall, I think strong company, very capable. They have the capacity to expand their reach, and they have been doing that. And I don't see it stopping anytime soon. So, you know. And also right now, I don't want to get too much into like saying it's a buy or not, but it's a big discount.
So you don't think the Corona mashup? How you think about that?
About how the Corona mash up the racetrack?
Because you think it will affect more than just the racetrack?
I mean, disposable income is going to be down, so I think I'd have a similar correlation with spending on things like gambling. But it might not be that way because a poor man gonna say when broke and go buy a cash.
Yeah, when the bars were closed for a while too,
Oh yeah, that's true. The bars being closed.
Yeah,
but it's not only bar cash pot sell either. You just have the cash pot shop near to the bar.
So, and those are open.
Yeah, cash pot shop.
I was never really outside, so I didn't really see what going on.
The one over by my pops was open, but it never locked. The bar, they're literally right beside the bar, and the bar lock and the cash pot shop open.
One other thing that was significant was, and this is asked about what else with Corona. Corona would completely destroy JustBet for that time when there were no sports going on really. So sports bet, JustBet basically wasn't.
Yeah, because sports betting is not a thing. Because there's no sports.
Yeah, there's nothing going on for like almost 2 months. So that's going to be a problem for now.
Yeah.
But that's going to bounce back. That's I mean it's sports betting. It's the Caribbean people, Jamaica.
And maybe we touch to the pressuring points though, which is like one. All right, so you mentioned Caymanas earlier. You mentioned Caymanas, but you mentioned the fact that no, they're being open, showing the Caymanas books separate from the SVL books, which I suspect that has more to do with internal things, so people don't have any misconception about what's happening with Caymanas. But it could, who knows? It could maybe they list Caymanas separately.
SVREL.
I'm thinking that as I'm saying this to you. That is a possibility. I mean, you show these books to make it open, and if we're showing you the books anyway, and we're running it anyway, and it's maybe a trouble spot within the company, it might be better for us to spin you off and us own your shares
and pull some cash into it.
The tax benefit from it,
right? And
it won't be hurt. It won't be hurt by getting more money into it. So.
Exactly. It won't hurt them. It won't hurt the group, and it certainly won't hurt you in a space where you may want to be clear on the fact that there is competition in the space. Which brings me to my next point, which is the obvious impending competition that SVL will face.
Yeah.
New player.
I know that so they've managed to not have any strong competition in a long time locally, and as they transform regionally, as you mentioned, that they are getting stronger, but they will have competition. They might face competition locally in Jamaica, so that could impact them. However,
who's the next name that you think of when it comes to betting?
There's nobody else really. There's nobody else currently, which is why, I mean, I'm sure legally they can point out who is where for competition reasons, but I can't think of anybody as their competitors. I don't have anybody as being a competition. I hear there's competition coming. There have been articles around competition
some
being
people
tagged to the old runners of SVL, maybe some of the old management, but as it is now, they're top of the roost, and I think that they're making money, and they continue. There exists the pull to be a cash cow, and there is strength in the network that they are, the network that they have. Sports betting, you guys mentioned, looking on the numbers now, sports betting only being 4% of their total business. Wow. I mean, if the whole thing there is just a 4% hit, right? Lotteries is where the money is. Yeah, lottery, not necessarily immaterial, but not as huge a hit. Lotteries is where we know them have the big hit. That's the cash pot is the king of the roost. Right behind that, you mentioned Dundas at the eyes of other games. I mean, I think they have Money Time. Yeah, man, you can't go around the money time, man. But if me in the bar, I can't really the money time, so that they drop off there, right? So maybe there might be a small dip from them. Added to that increased competition, I could see the price dipping a little bit, but I would still keep my money on SVL. In this, I'm biased because I mean I do have a lot of faith in the management, in the leadership, in the ownership.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's a showing for me. It's a money. It's a cash cow. That's what it is. Yeah, and it is more than itself. I look on it as infrastructure. Yeah, more than anything else. Cash heavy, cash rich, pays a consistent dividend, and yeah, even if them get competition will have to try hard. Competition have to find something.
Yep,
but
come hard.
especially
the acquisitions they made recently, they have to come hard.
Yes.
If I'm soaking up the market.
Yeah, the scale is going to make a big deal for anybody who wants to.
And the regional move is awesome.
And that South Africa move looks good to me. That broadcast move.
That's all.
It's not the
broadcast.
Yeah, and they've spoken about it earlier too, you know. So they've spoken about the broadcasting outside of Jamaica, and then here we go with them definite something on the South Africa. So looking good for SVL. Not necessarily no, but we've been speaking about it I think we on earning season we've been speaking about it as not necessarily as a longer term play.
We have, very much a pension stock in my view.
Get that cash.
Yeah, it's the sort of thing you'd want to hold for a long time and have a lot of. Yeah. So we'll see what happens with it. I mean, if the price dip heavily, I might actually look on it as an option. Let's see what happens with the competition and how they come out of the reworking of the market around Corona. But yeah, I have a lot of faith in it. Next up, we have, speaking of infrastructure, the big infrastructure company, Trans Jamaica.
Yes.
What can be said about this that has not yet been
said? I'd like to say Trans has not cleared about IPO price yet.
No, yeah.
Oh yes.
It hasn't.
Rat race.
It has. How long has it been since it IPO'd?
Was it end of February? Or was it listed?
Like 5 months.
I think it's March 24th.
5 months.
March.
I think it's the end of March.
End of March.
I won't think so. My brain won't tell me Corona was here.
No, before. March forward.
Yeah, because they were the big thing in the market before Corona.
Yeah, man. No. About the actual listing date, I think.
Yeah, the listing was post Corona, like right after.
Yeah, so I think the listing itself was after Corona.
Oh yes. I remember that because there was a postpone on actual listing. Yeah.
March 24.
March 23.
It closed off and everything, but I think it did actually list.
Yeah, well, I think it's March.
Yeah, it took a while to list. Yeah.
Because
March
the allotment of
March
shares
13.
came out. The allotment of shares was posted on the 12th of March.
It listed on March 23.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. So listed on March 23 or 20. It can't be the 23. It must be the 24th. Then
I'm looking at the thing there.
What?
It listed
the market and seen the 23rd.
23rd. The first day is 23rd. It didn't trade on that day because you know that go.
Yeah.
Everything was cancelled or something like that.
Everybody tried go. Everybody went too hard, you know. Too high, too low. So no go.
You sure? I think it's a Tuesday list, man. Regardless, it hasn't passed the $1.41. Yeah, it hasn't past the $1.41 that it listed at. But granted, 24th of March to the middle of July.
Yeah, you can understand.
Yeah, 4 months, and the sort of thing that it is not the sort of thing that was expected to ever maybe grow as heavily or as fast. Probably listed right near its value. Right, very close to its value. A lot of the houses had it coming out 20% above its value they expected 20%. And I mean, you guys have all seen the expectations around it. but it has yet to even get back to 141. It's close to it now, right? It closed.
It's traded at
last
141
week.
before. I don't think that's closed yet. It has traded there.
Yeah, it has traded early out. Yeah,
Even recently, probably even yesterday.
But it did. Yes, the high for last week Friday was 141.
Yeah.
But I don't know if anybody has actually. Yeah, I don't think it has ever traded above that.
Yeah.
So 141 remains the IPO price and the 52-week high. So far, it hasn't been 52 weeks yet. And then the reality of it is that they make a whole heap of their money from cargo, which is business stuff, and the people from Clarendon and St. Catherine driving into Kingston, right?
Yep.
And we know that has been impacted from about March till now.
Yep.
With the lockdowns and everything.
Yeah, both ends. Yeah, so not just the retail stuff, but also the cargo. And the cargo is very important because that is where the majority of the money is, I believe. And that's where the consistent money definitely is. Trans-Jamaica is Trans-Jamaica. And if you bought it, everybody who told me when it was IPOing, everybody I asked told me that they were buying it for the long term.
Retirement.
So yeah, so we're looking on a for the long term sort of thing. If you were saying that to me then, or you were thinking that then, 3 months, 4 months is not necessarily long term.
Yeah, you should be alright.
Change your situation, then that's fine. But from the end of March to the middle of July is not long term. That's not even half a year yet, so that's not long term yet, right? And you should, I don't know what impression you'd have gotten when you're asking your advisor about it, but it is very clear that this is a low and slow stock. This is something that you make your money off of the dividend as far as they're expecting, and that dividend will look very good. Was expected or is expected to look very good in like year 4 or year 5. Yeah. You know, you might see strong yield on it in year 4 or year 5. If you're comparing it to IPO price. And if you're thinking along those lines, being able to buy it below IPO price is also a blessing. Yeah. On the shorter term side of things, I mean, I suspect they'll report a loss and it will drop back down closer to $1. Yeah. But this is quite a stock. But it's good to have this sort of stock on the exchange, I think. Yeah, you have something big, something for the slow, and you have something for the smaller people. Next up we have Toki, Tree of Knowledge, the only stock that I don't know on the exchange. Any of you guys know this? Any of you guys from 876 know Tree of Knowledge International Corporation?
Is that the weed thingy?
Yeah, I think it's.
I don't think it's a
Yeah,
weed.
I think it's a
weed
weed company or cannabis company.
Weed research.
Really?
Yeah, and I think
I want to believe
From
so. Yes.
Canada.
Yeah, from Canada. Yeah, it's from Canada. But
Yeah, Tree of Knowledge International Corp. Medical.
As far as I know, they're a school thing.
School?
I didn't know that they're.
No.
You're what?
No, not a
Who?
Why do I think of them as a school? No, they are.
Knowledge.
Yeah, they are.
Knowledge.
No, I don't know. I thought I looked them up and they're like an online learning sort of thing. Why did I think that they're that and not a science-based health and wellness solution company?
Yeah, it's a weed company.
That's what they describe themselves as. Yeah.
Canada, Jamaica, weed.
Has there been any activity? Oh no, not at all.
No.
Has there been any? We don't know
JC,
anything
never bother tell us when they were listing it.
We don't know nothing about it. How for
Yeah,
Well,
we'll
it
come and
just pop
see
up one
today.
day, basically.
Yeah, that's the day.
Right? Literally just popped up one day, and then after somebody tweeted about it on Twitter, that guy on Twitter, them put out a notice saying that Monday it was listed.
Yeah, and like,
which makes me wonder then what happened to like maybe my memory is old, but JC have some rules, you know. They might be old, but there are rules there around minimum trading amount. Your stock has to trade a certain amount, or it goes up for the delisting. Yeah,
it don't make sense. I mean, it don't make sense to have an egg stock still on the exchange.
What about thing there? Why it again?
When last you buy any of that
Cable Bahamas.
Cabby level.
Cable Bahamas. Cabby.
Cable Bahamas. Yeah.
All them.
$1 million unit, right?
If me make $100 million. When last that trade?
Wow. Yeah, so Tree of Knowledge is the only company I don't know well enough. Obviously, I didn't even know what they did for money. So, wow.
Yeah.
They haven't put out. I haven't seen any financials from them. I don't know what their date is. Yeah, I can't. This is one of those things where somebody asks you about how advanced the JC is, and you hope that they don't ask you about this stuff because it's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's not much I can say. A weak company. They do CBD stuff. They do clinics. They do whatever, and we haven't heard much from them. They do trade on other exchanges though. They are traded, so they are a cross-listed company. They trade on the Canadian National Stock Exchange, and yeah, it's one of those companies that seen good right before Corona. Who knows? They do have medical, so but I can't even speak to them, so I'll skip them. I'm not gonna even waste time because I don't know them.
Yep.
T-Tech is the next one.
Oh,
T-Tech
boy.
is up. And we can almost wrap very quickly, guys. I know you guys have waited a long time, and I'm pushing for this longer episode because, I mean, we have 4 stocks left. Other than T-Tech, we have 4 stocks left, so we might as well wrap it. So T-Tech is the next one. What do you guys feel about T-Tech?
I haven't really looked into them, but I brought up their statements over here, and their last set of numbers look pretty decent in and of themselves. But as I say, I don't really know what they do. I see here that they do, what is this said? Technology service providing and consulting is what the note one says.
Yeah, so think of them as a
IT solutions. Yeah, basically a step in IT department. That's really it.
Yeah, so their company is essentially
it's like a
an
consultancy,
IT department.
IT department it can buy. So you'd have set up on it for yourself.
I know that Grace is one of their customers.
Because they used to be
under them.
They came from Grace.
Yeah. But
I mean, who knows? The COVID might help them.
I thought they'd be like trying to expand more, but I haven't really seen much of that.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, I don't really see a lot.
It's an opportunity. It's a definite opportunity for them. Just maybe it doesn't happen. I haven't found them to be terribly hungry.
Yeah, I mean, I know they're trying early out. They're listed and they're trying. They went through a little bit of a rocky period. No, obviously they're doing a little bit better, as you say. The last quarter, 4.1 million in profit versus 758,000 Jamaican in profit the year before. But we are not seeing a lot of anything else out of them. And who knows? It's about how they'll handle COVID, really. I would have thought that, you know what I would love to have seen? T-Tech coming with and we might still see. You might see them coming with a AGM solution.
Ooh.
That would be nice if they provide an AGM solution.
Indeed.
Yeah,
right? Yeah, so but obviously there's a legal aspect of that to be handled. But once that is handled, it would be good if you see them. I'm throwing out this free idea. Simple AGM solution include the ability for proxy voting or voting electronically. So you verify people against the stock database, the company's held database, which they would understand since they're under GK. And you verify that this person is an actual shareholder and they vote online. There's entire systems. I'm sure they can just go out and buy the software and rebrand it, or they can write it in-house. Their CEO, Chris Reckord, is quite their entrepreneur, so I'm sure he would probably has these plans already. Who knows? I hope so. But as it is now, it is to be seen how COVID will affect them. It might help. Who was that? I said that. Was it Henel or Schaunn?
Yeah, I had said it. I was saying there may be some software solutions. I don't know. As I said, I'm not very familiar with them, so I don't know what kind of services or what kind of IT services they offer. But with a lot of these businesses being forced to implement flexi work from home, remote work strategies, you may have a space where you have some need for T-Tech to come in and provide some software solutions.
A lot more. And I deliberately spoke of them as an IT department, because if I'm billing you company X for X amount of hours of support, And now all of a sudden everybody's working from home, so we actually have to provide more help desk support, more server side support. You know, you used to work on this server and it was fine because everybody's in the office. Now everybody's dialing in, so you have to go upgrade everything, and we're the ones that have to go in and do it. There might actually be an opportunity for them to earn more.
They're very much an IT department. So,
yeah. As somebody who spent many years working in IT,
as somebody who has worked, has experience with them.
Oh, you have experience with them directly. Yeah. Oh wow! Yeah. So they are who you call when something is wrong at your desk.
Yeah.
So I would assume that if you're definitely working from home, anything go wrong, you call in your T-Tech. So we might see these guys actually banking.
Might.
Yeah. And they have said it themselves. T-Tech was kept very busy helping our customers implement the technologies needed for their staff to operate remotely. I don't need to see nothing else. I don't need to see nothing else. You guys see why you have to pay attention to every company on the market?
Indeed.
So you're not going to hear about this until you start hearing about it, you know. And then it's going to be, oh, this one looks good, but I seem to have missed the boat. And it's currently at 494 with a PE ratio of 16 times. That is not bad if they have a
strong set of numbers coming forward, yeah.
Wow, look at that. Gems at the end. And then the quarter ended June, so we're waiting on a little report, right? And the report would come out mid-August. So this is actually a nice one to
watch.
To look at again. Yeah, I don't want to watch. I watch my investments, but that's nice. Next up we have Victoria Mutual Investments, VMIL. Then I them said we don't talk about VMIL on this show. Big up Diane.
Who said we don't talk about it?
Big up Diane 876 who asked one question on one episode that you weren't on when I just done the calls. He asked, his question was, why don't you guys ever talk about VMIL? And I say you Danai. Well, Danai knows what I say. Well, I laugh. I mentioned him.
So I used to work for their subsidiary, Victoria Mutual Wealth Management.
Exactly. So, and we have mentioned them before.
I big up the CEO all the time.
Yes, including at the last episode. We'll big up Sir Rezworth Burchenson is his name. And we spoke about what we felt about it. Or how do our guests feel? Let's not ring start. How do our guests feel? Some new voices.
I have a longer term outlook on VMIL, partially because my dad brought it to my attention. I got him into investing, and so he saw the financial changes I was making, and was like, yo, what's popping? And I'm like, well, I started doing this thing, and he told me not just in the investing itself, but he helped me learn some other things about money. So let's go. And anyway, so we were talking about it. He started talking to some of his friends, people he works with. Somebody had brought Victoria Mutual to his attention just before the big run earlier in the year. So he actually got in on that run partway up, and then so we were looking into it, and he, like I said, he's more of a longer term person, so we were looking on some of the broad strokes of the business and management, etc., and we really had a good outlook on where we think they're gonna go.
I like that you and your father did that. Which industry do your father work in? Finance also?
No, my father actually works.
You don't have to say where and work, just the industry.
If I say the industry, I got.
Okay,
I got for hold that one.
Schaunn father run boom. Schaunn, tell me if he actually works at I can edit.
No, he doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't take all of them pressure.
I understand. All right. But that's good that you're helping your father. I like that generational boy. That's generational wealth. Double up. You buy a drink with the money?
Naturally.
What? Naturally? I should have turned it up in my family.
No man, I'm a pot school man.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. So you looked at it. He benefited from the rise, but we know that based on the latest results, they're not looking that good. Meaning, the latest results have them hugging up a $36.9 million loss.
Yeah, that is true. there is that.
Yeah, why is that? I know I saw the increased interest expense, which caused them to have net interest income pretty much flat in my view. 79.8 this year versus 75.2 last year. So I mean a small rise, but I'd call that flat.
But the
Especially
investment
because
activities.
VMill now is bigger with the Barbadian operation and everything. But we see then I sound like you know this one back to front. You want to grab it?
No, sure, but the loss on investment activities. That's the real kicker.
That's where it came from. And the associate, the share of associate loss also.
The associate,
which I didn't have before.
Because they recently took on associate, which was the thing the company, I believe. The
Caryland.
Asian company.
Caryland, yes. They took on associate. Caryland. I'm not sure that we were all wondering where Caryland would lie, if it's profitable or not. I guess this is the answer.
Yeah, that was a weird business to me for Jamaica,
right.
The way how it was
So?
described.
What do you think it is? What do you think of it?
What it was described as was peer-to-peer lending. So, and the way how it was described as being integrated here would be that, well, based on what I was looking at, was so you would want to take a loan from VMill, but VMill would basically, I would basically, me, a separate party, would volunteer my money to VMill to loan you through Caryland, was how it read to me. Which I thought that was weird in terms of where Jamaica's space is right now, with people trusting people like that, and the whole scamming thing, etc., etc. So I don't know if people mentally like willing to accept. I don't think there's anything wrong with the business in and of itself.
Yeah,
I just think the way how people might perceive it is a bit. It stood out to me. Like I was like, I don't know if everybody might treat this as something simple.
So peer-to-peer lending usually works. It's just that the online platform is there. You go, I want to lend money versus thing there. So how I would see it working if I approach VMill for a loan, VMill would have a pool of other people's money, in my opinion, and there will be the in between basically for that person. So you'll be going to VMill for a loan, but Caryland is the backer of that loan. That's where the money is coming from.
Yeah. I don't think it would be like Randy want a loan, so then I have to put up $1. I think they would be like money collecting, but still, the idea of volunteering the money, I think that I got to take a second to get used to.
But I think that's why it's a Caribbean push, because it's not necessarily a Jamaican company to start.
Yeah, man, definitely.
In Barbados, it's happening
that was just how it would be integrated in Jamaica. That part of it was what was stood out to me. I don't have a problem with the business in and of itself of Caryland.
Where did you hear that exactly? That it will be integrated like in that way?
I was reading something earlier. Jeez, where is it? My laptop did crash and close all of the article then. I was reading something earlier on it, and it came up.
But I do think it's that way. Is that not it? I think what you just said is exactly how it works. If I want $100 to borrow, then I have to put it up. If then I don't put it up, I don't get.
No, I'm meaning that I don't think that when you approach VMill to say, "Hey, I want $100," at that point, then I would take $100 and submit. I think it's more like then I would say where people would be wanting to lend money. And they would be, so you would volunteer the money, and then they would then distribute it from a pool of money that they have. Is what it,
and that pool being your funds.
Yeah, so that pool would just be other people's money. It wouldn't be VMill's money any at all. But you would, I don't think that it's like Randy needs a $3 million loan to go buy a car. So at that point, then I deposit $3 million into Caryland. Although that's not how it came across to me. How it came across was more like what then I was saying. There's a pool, so I would want to lend money to people. I would see this as an option, and I would want to partake in it and lend money, similar to Sprint Financial. You'd want to just lend. You'd want to lend that money based on the percentage or however they choose to integrate it. And I don't know how it works, but you choose to lend the money, right? So I would want to lend the money for whatever reason. And somebody else would want to borrow the money, and Caryland would facilitate that.
Yeah.
Easy fix.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it comes down to Caryland being a middleman.
Yeah. It's just how exactly they are the middleman. I don't know. And the perception, as I said, was something for me that I don't know how it will come across for the Jamaican side of it with the VMill integration, if that is the way how it was supposed to be integrated. I'm going to look for the article and try to send you guys though.
Cool.
All right. I mean, I'm there, and I like the idea of Caryland, but it can work in Barbados and I mean, V-Mill own it, so
Definitely.
it can work in Barbados and we still eat off it in Jamaica.
That's true.
Yeah, I can't see. I think it will work a lot better if we have. I won't say those letters all together, but if we have some sort of nationalized ID system in Jamaica, I think it might work a lot better, because then you can track people wherever they are and whatever they do. But I like V-Mill. I mean, I don't like the hit at the techno, but they are an investment company, and I expect the ECLs to hit them too.
Yeah.
Yeah, ECLs hit them too. So there's more losses coming. I wouldn't be surprised if there are more losses coming, and those losses might provide an opportunity for you to buy a stock that is generally, you can say fairly priced now, but with the opportunities that it has. This is another, in a year or two, you'll be very happy you had it. And you'll be very happy after talking to your licensed financial advisor, which we are not. Wigton is our next one. The big dog. The people remember Wigton. Remember when Wigton was Trans Jamaica?
Yep.
Remember, it was a huge, and everybody went into. And we're looking at Wigton now. When did this list? 2019 or 2018?
2019, I think. Yeah.
2019.
Yeah, before work on
So we're coming down to almost a year. We're coming down to almost a year since Wigton listed. And I mean, you'd be up, what's this? That's not 28%. It's at 78 cents right now, which would mean that you are up on IPO 56%, right? And this thing has gone as high as 100% of its IPO price. It listed at 50 cents, it's not at $1. I mean, Wigton, a year on, I think it has shown, it has proven what it came to prove in terms of it being an investment for people. Yeah, and a lot of people owned it, and a lot of Jamaicans, regular people who never buy stocks yet, was their very first stock. I am happy. I know the 876 guys, the man in bank off a Wigton, boy.
Naturally.
Yeah. You guys, you remember that one? You can go back and listen to episode 28 of earnings season, where them talk the real talk about the money that they've made. Well, not the money they've made, but how they made it and how Wigton came in. How do you guys feel about Wigton now, though? A year on.
Let me go ahead.
Sorry, you repeat that?
I was saying you could go ahead. I wasn't even talking about the money. I only use Wigton.
You don't. All right. Well, Schaunn, you were saying something then?
Yeah, I was saying, I think through the coronavirus, Wigton should be fine. They released their statement saying they only sell to JPS and they use their fixed pricing contracts. So their costs would come from maintenance issues. I remember them saying that. So it's like they were saying the suppliers are overseas. So with the virus, there's a lot of shipping that's not happening. So it may take longer for them to get the parts to maintain the turbines. But they say revenue-wise, they shouldn't be that affected unless it's the maintenance that. So maybe your turbine not turning as much power because it needs to be maintained there. So,
and there was a variance of wind speed, but that's something out of our control.
Yeah, variance of wind speed I can't really control. But I don't. We can.
Sorry, you guys paid attention to the wind speed?
Yeah, it's actually was the reason why there was a significant drop in the last time.
They noted it, so it became important.
Yeah, man, it is
important.
Yeah, they made a statement of it, so I need to make sure that it's true.
Yeah.
I just laughing. Which episode would you mention that, the wind speed thing?
Not sure.
It was after the second to last result, so they said that it had dropped. So you guys are right. I'm just impressed that you guys have gone. So wait, when you said there was a drop in wind speed, how do you know that?
It was in the report, you know?
Yeah, the old one, the last time they mentioned it in the report.
In the December report?
Yeah.
Was it December?
And there was 2 reports.
Occasionally, I just Google average wind speed and see what Google tell me.
All right.
Joke about it so much, yo. It's like, yo, if today is windy with my Wigton, joking
Yeah,
about.
like it was
Actually,
a big joke
technically
on
was.
him kind of being there. But yeah, we were like
What is-
but yeah, as I said, sometimes I'll just look up the average wind speed. Not because it's not like I'm checking it day in day out trying to say, all right, did it fall?
No,
You
nothing
know,
wrong with that,
yeah.
brother.
So
Not
I
all
check it
wrong with it. It's a
occasionally and
good
say, all
thing
right,
too.
how it looking maybe for the month, how it did it look last month, and see what's popping with it. You know,
Average wind speed
Yeah,
for where
that's
exactly?
not. Say that again,
Average
brother.
wind speed for where exactly do you check?
well, I check the country even though I know it's not everywhere.
Yeah, that's my problem with
The
that.
same thing.
Yeah,
It cannot. It give you something about comfort, but you're not really sure. You know.
yeah. So that's the thing. I know it's only one part of the country, but
Yeah.
the data is for the country
Mm-hmm.
that I found.
Yeah.
If you have
better to
a
have something to
more
check than not at
clear
all,
link,
right? Yeah.
What I like is that they said that they had in the last report. They said that they had deliberately programmed their maintenance to capitalize on the low wind regime, right? And luckily, during that time period, there was no corona, so they did a lot of the maintenance. And now they're saying because of corona, they may have some delay in their maintenance because they can't get all the parts. But in terms of selling to JPS, we know it's good. Now, I like to look on it from shine a light on it from a point of view that everybody can understand. Everybody there on my burn electricity. JPS is one company that is doing much better thanks to Corona.
You sure?
Or we would think,
You
who
sure?
knows? Maybe not.
Because a good amount of the business will come from what you call it again, from people being in office, running that AC all day.
Exactly. That moves it to this brings us into the same kind of ballpark as the separates and
Yeah, and
the distributors,
yeah.
because yes, everybody's at home now. We have one lights, we have one game,
but
TV
gotta
on,
remember
fan
that the
on.
rate they charge residential is different from commercial.
Yeah,
indeed.
That
yeah,
is
But
we'll talk,
true.
remember
we'll
that
talk about that
commercial
one
is
day.
still a whole heap of stuff.
Yeah.
So your
regardless,
residential is
majority
two
of the
light
money.
bulb.
No, yeah, because
I remember that this convo came
no,
up.
because people keep saying that everybody them have one light, and I say, but still put it into context.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah, the
I remember
residential rate
You're
is
this
right.
higher.
convo came up.
The thing is, you have to know if the production from how much energy is being charged to the residential market. Is it the same that we're getting from the commercial market?
Right.
If I'm at home, am I spending more? Am I costing my company more electricity than I'm costing myself if I was at home?
And
There
that's
we
what's
go.
not clear.
No, I'm working. Well, how we make it clear is how we do the research. I mean, that's easy to know. I'm going from memory from the last time I did the research. That JPS was about 48% of the revenue comes from residential people, right? Which would put 50, so roughly half, but put 52 on the commercial. Now, if there's a fall off in commercial, then JPS is under pressure. However, I then like to use regular things that anybody can look at to estimate these things. Blackouts have started a lot more. I see people talking about light gone a whole heap more over the last few months while everybody's home, and the residential pull has been higher. We've seen the people arguing about their light bills on JPS, down to the ministers we see arguing about their light bill on JPS, which I won't go into whether the light bill is right. What I will go into is the financials probably seeing a boost from more people buying in. But also remember that we don't necessarily have to worry about JPS's endpoint to the consumer, because what we care about is the connection between Wigton and JPS. And I suspect on that side that Wigton has still been able to sell everything that they've been able to produce to JPS. I believe so. I could be wrong, right? And I believe also that at the end of the quarter, the US dollar to Jamaica dollar rate, what was it? Was it pretty nice? Was it over 140?
March 31st was.
Is March? Yes, it's March. March. I think was it like 145 in March?
I think it was that high. It was like 138.
All right, so
130 odd?
I'm fine, not good.
my thing there, my issue on that with the dollar movement, it's so the way JPS is charged is billed by Wigton is cool. I sent you an invoice. I got it today and I sent you an invoice then and he paid. You get me? So the difference in the rate, because I bill them in US basically. The day I send an invoice versus the day you pay, the movement between those 2 days. I don't know what the invoicing period. So it wouldn't be like over the quarter, them owe them money for the whole quarter. You get me?
I see 134.
It's like a receivables movement. So it's not that if it's not necessarily at the start of the quarter how much the rate is the exchange rate versus the end of the quarter how much the exchange rate is. The real difference is, I sent you the invoice today and you owe me for 10 days. Did the rate move up or down in those 10 days? You get me?
Why does that matter though? Because I sent you the invoice in US dollars.
I sent invoice, yeah. So you owe me US dollars. You owe me $100 today, right? And it's 134 today. In 10 days time, it's 140. So you pay me 100, but when I change it, I get more money basically.
From which standpoint though? Who is invoicing? Who is Wigton invoicing JPS?
Wigton invoicing JPS, yeah.
So JPS pays Wigton in US dollars.
So it's a movement of that line item of a receivable. It's a movement of the value, the FX value of that line item. It's not necessarily that Wigton has this bag of money at the start of the quarter and then at the end of the quarter, it's worth more. It's not necessarily like that.
That's difficult exactly.
It's because the receivable is in US and the value of that receivable changes whenever. So when it's added to
the exchange rate changes.
Yeah.
But value where? Because the difference, the rate difference only matters to me because I'm hearing my report in Jamaican.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah, but okay, sorry. It's just to get the understanding that there's no difference to JPS either. If the bill is 100,000 US, the JPS 100,000 US. Yeah. It's just that when they're reporting it now. Oh, I understand what Dana is saying. You're saying that if they pay it and the rate is different on the date that they pay it versus the date that you bill them, then that's where you get the gain.
Yeah. That's where FX gain comes from.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also realistically you get the gain in the market because all analysts mention this US dollar billing thing and it make them feel better about it. Plus, I mean the stock is up 50% in a year. That is a win. And it has paid 2 dividends now?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And this is strong. Noted in this is that they have included in the income is 115 million, which is made up of, there are 2 extraordinary amounts from that, totally 57 million. I'm reading from the actual MD&A here. 29 million, which is from the settlement of an insurance claim and the reversal of a provision for carbon credit payable of 28 million. Those won't be repeatable in the same quarter next year. However, they will fill in for the rest of the year. And I think I am banking on there being some noted pull from residential areas that Wigton helps JPS with, and I'm banking on that being good enough for them to report another strong quarter. I believe that a payment at the end of last year, which was a question in some circles, I think.
Who?
They had a payment, that they have it's a stated payment, a bond payment. I think they had a date.
Okay, you want to debt repayment.
Yeah, I think it was
that was
end of 2019. It's sort of working with my mind, but as it is now, the fate of Wigton, in my view, hinges on whether or not they had a good quarter to JPS, which I'm suspecting that they did. And because they did that, they probably are going to have an increase in price. They might actually break $1 again. They're always fluctuating. This is a nice fluctuating stock. Good volumes on it. And if you're willing to wait a few months, you can almost always come out at a nice profit. It will swing. I mean, it's down to 70 cents now. There's a point a few months ago it was down to 50 cents, I believe.
Yeah, in the peak of Corona, but that was just like a one-time thing. It sold down to 52. But then it stayed high 50s.
Yeah. So, but it does this swing where if you see to the 50s, there was no question when I saw it in the 50s that it was going to go right back up to the 70s. And so said, so done. It went back up to the 70s in May when I believe the dividend was announced.
That mountain was
And
crazy.
then it came back down and settled now in the 70 region. And I think news will push it back up to the dollar again. And if they have another dividend, it'll push it even further. Wigton is what I'd call an obviously successful large listing. So that I hope that Trans Jamaica can be in a year.
Agreed.
Or
Question though, you had mentioned something earlier about the blackouts. Do you think that the blackouts are indicative of the fact that, well, it's indicative of the capacity being like more than we would expect? Meaning, you think that because they're blackouts, that means that so much is being used that it might be enough to offset the decrease in the corporate?
Assuming that Wigton was needed for that.
Yeah,
I don't know that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I know, the man them take everything that Wigton produce.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I was thinking that even if consumption grows, they still the same amount to JP. I don't know about Wigton having storage capacity.
Well, no, I don't have them having storage capacity either. But so I look on the. I'm sure they might. I don't know how it works. I won't try to assume that. But I will tell you that as far as I know,
everything they make themselves. So
everything they make with JPS Tech, and JPS wants to, because everything that they take from Wigton means that they don't have to buy any oil for it. They don't have to import anything for it. Right. So it is a better deal for them to get electricity from Wigton. And I know I'm using light things to judge here, but you can look on the fact that everybody's home, and a lot of the people, especially in that side of the island, have had blackouts. So I'm assuming that there is heavier retail consumption in terms of a longer time. And as I won't get into whether or not that's better for JPS, but I am suspecting that it's better for Wigton.
Yeah, but the good thing is, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if JPS is doing more on corporate or not, because anything Wigton make, they buy it. So they have exactly. That protection.
Yeah, it is a great deal that Wigton has with them. That thing that was said to be bad, them having one customer, is actually a strength. Because if you sell electricity in Jamaica, you can really only sell to one person anyway. Yeah. Legally, can only sell to one person. And so we're almost at the end. Thank you guys for sticking with us throughout this whole thing. I know this one was long. We're going to Wisynco, which we've touched before.
Before we move forward, regarding that Carolyn thing that I was mentioning with Vmail, I just did some checks. I was slightly wrong. So they are implementing a lending platform, but in Jamaica it won't be peer-to-peer. So they're peer-to-peer otherwise, but in Jamaica they'll use the same platform, but it will be VMBS and Vmail to the customers as opposed to peer-to-peer through them.
Which is good.
Okay, that's good. You sound like you read something. You can share whatever that thing is.
Yeah, man, it's the annual report. I sent it to you a while ago.
Okay, perfect. So for anybody listening, you can know to look at VMail's last annual report. And you can also look at JPS's annual report to see that peak demand has increased, at least in 2019. Peak electricity demand increased, and I suspect that peak demand would increase even more. I was incorrect heavily just now. Let me correct myself. Thank you for that. Let me use the opportunity to correct myself. My memory is definitely off. So in terms of sales, JPS has 34%. And again, I'm just going off their annual report. JPS last year had 34% coming from residential. Commercial and industrial, small commercial industrial was 43. That's where the 43 came from in my head. And large commercial was 21, and 2% being other. I don't know what other is. So can residential buff JPS's numbers? Nah, them can't make it up back off of them. And if you go deep in JPS's info, you'll see where they speak to the fact that those large players, which you guys mentioned earlier, like Separate coming off and Red Stripe coming off, Wisynco coming off, the grid, that stuff is, I mean, you need like a whole scheme to equal, or half a scheme to equal Wisynco. Wysinko's daily spend, that sort of thing. So the residential really can't make it up. But I do believe that Wigton hits heavily in an area that they can't afford to stop using. So we will see. That's what that hinges on. Speak to your advisor about it. So now we're on the second to last one, which is Wysinko. I know the guests know this one, back to front. We've mentioned it so much, so we can almost skip it, but we should mention it since we're on it for itself. Wysinko, water, boom, which we said already, right? Workplace, hotels, parties, schools, homes. Homes still keeping, some workplace still keeping. Party dead, school dead. So it's just your home, workplace, home, and some school. Wysinko might see a dip in time, but as they are now, they are okay, fairly-ish valued. But I wouldn't be surprised if they show a drop over the next 2 quarters, but they'll still be around for a long time. Yeah, and who knows? They could surprise with something else, but I think Wysinko needs the place to be open up for them to surprise with anything other than maybe acquisitions. And the last one, thank you guys so much for being here. For the last one, XFUND. Sagicor Real Estate XFUND. Who that? I want to go. Schaunn, you want to speak on it?
I'm not too versed in XFUND, honestly, and I just know when you said it a while ago, it reminded me of somebody that I know said about it. They don't really like it.
Yeah, why don't they like it?
They don't like real estate generally for the stock exchange. That's just how they.
Really?
Honestly, I really couldn't tell you.
Who is they?
I was trying to get to it, and I was like, "What?" And pretty much they were saying what it sounded like to me was they didn't think real estate could provide the type of return that they wanted in their timelines. But I wasn't able to have a long conversation about it.
Who was that?
I wanted to. I don't.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I don't think you guys know them.
Don't load them up.
Cool. Yeah. If you guys know them, I'd genuinely be surprised.
That's up.
Yeah, but it's a good point. It's real estate is not necessarily for everybody, and real estate companies tend not to be for everybody. But XFUND
They've generally been so.
Yeah, they're like a dynamic real estate fund, so they're more than just regular real estate. They're hotels now. Danai knows them better than I do. Yeah, they're hotels. They're playa. How do they hold the playa?
They hold the playa through Jamsiv. So Jamsiv is a company that is owned by Sagicor Group, Sagicor Jamaica Group, and XFUND. And they hold 20,000 Sagicor playa shares. 20 million playa shares.
20 million. Mm-hmm. Yeah, between $10 and $12 per share. But I don't think that they recognize playa as an associate now.
Yes, so share of profit. So they no longer book the trading value of the shares. It's the share of profit in associate. Share of loss more often than not.
Yeah. Can't tell us I see a report from them.
Yeah, it's been
a
while.
You were saying something just now, Schaunn?
I was saying it was the trading price is an issue because right now they're at like $3.
They're at like what?
$3 or three something. About $3 right
now. You're talking about playa shares.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they have dropped in significant value, heavily. There was a time when, if you remember, XFUND started out recognizing playa on the value of the shares and on the movement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that movement really changed that entire thing. They went through an entire thing to change how they recognize.
They sent some more directors down there, and at that point, then they recognized the control of the board, which would then graduate the stake, the type of stake they have. So they'll consider it an acquisition. So XFUND now considered prior to be associate, and
based on the level of control, which is one of the ways that you can exert control, not just through the 20%.
Not through the whole ownership alone.
Yeah.
So they own less than 20% actually.
Yes.
But because they hold a significant board stake, then they would rank it to a next level. So it's associate stake, which is the next step.
Yeah, which means that if you're looking on XFUND, you have to look on playa
to see how
To look
well
on-
they're
Yeah, exactly. To see how well they're doing.
in trouble for a while. So they were in a growth phase where we need to do. They were investing heavily into new businesses, which were they bought the hotels from X. They were growing, getting over the financing and all that. But COVID put a nail in that. One.
It's the two most interesting things I've seen. Well, one of them is Playa, so you look on the financials. The other one is the fact that I believe they also own the jewel chain, no?
Then,
Did
yes,
XFUND own the jewel chain? Yeah.
Wasn't there a sale on the board for that?
And they as far as it was sold, they haven't stated who would have sold it to. But it has been sold. And so there might be something good there in terms of recognizing that sale depending on the price it was sold at. And yeah, it's been a rough run for them for years now, right? Years. Literally years. I remember somebody was defending it very heavily to me.
I have quite a bit of people defending it very heavily. I went through it, man. I went through it on Twitter. I went through it in person because I work in investment, so I have a lot of those conversations. A guy, he came to me and he told me that XFUND is a new thing. I heard me talking about stocks, so he came to me and said XFUND were the well, man, and I pointed out that, hey, if you looked at Playa's numbers though, and you look at the share price movement, it's not looking good for them. And his response was to go and find the person that told him about Playa and why it's a good thing for that person to come to me and argue with me. And then the person never sounds so hot on it either. It's funny because that person had actual reasons why he thought it was doing. He could explain and say not that they were right or they were a little bit of checking that okay, cool, but it was more than what the other person came with. But check the share price, check the company itself because they're a listed company. You can see the share price movement. You can see what the numbers look like, and it was obvious to us, and it didn't seem to be obvious to the rest of the people. So people bought into XFUND heavily and took a loss.
Yeah, rough. And I mean, pretty much the same story for me, minus the gopher. There's somebody who know about it to explain, but I mean,
I remember when you had that conversation. I was a part of it, and we went through it, didn't we?
Yeah, quite a bit. So I was thinking about when that whole thing started.
Oh boy.
I think I want to say it was early 2019, but then I went and I checked, and it's either early 2018 or mid 2017 or something crazy like that. And it's crazy to me for somebody to nobody mentions it anymore. But it started January 2018 at $14.60 per share. It is now July 2020 at $7.08, 80-something cents per share. So you're looking on almost half of your portfolio just wipe away. And the things that it's involved in are things that it cannot fix on its own. COVID hitting hotels wickedly, right? People not really traveling into it, people not really doing it, and it's not just the Jamaican hotels. It's in Mexico. The Americans aren't going to Mexico. Nobody's accepting Americans other than us. And it's a business that's looking on at least another 2 years before it can rework, unless something magical happens. Magical things could happen. I believe maybe Playa. I think Playa is making some plays in the cruise sector. Yeah, a lot of things happening in the cruise line sector in the US market, but that's another conversation for another time. I haven't seen a report from them in a long time either, right? They've had delayed Q1 financials for a long time. No, and their Q1 was supposed to be I think their Q1, their Q3 2019 is the last thing that I have seen, and that was as at September 2019. So December 2019 should have been the end of their year. Maybe it's just me not seeing it. That must be it. Because it couldn't be that it's gone for that long. But then again, XFUND started this in recent times, delay your numbers until you're really ready. but it has been going on for a long time. I actually don't know what's going on in the company, and their parent companies have more than reported, which is why I'm thinking that I might be incorrect.
No, they posted March numbers, though.
I saw March top 10, but I don't know if I saw I set a March number.
Because I remember we had spoken about it there. I opened us up in Q1 content.
Yes. Apologies. That's on me. So do they have posted their numbers? Yes.
We spoke about it, man.
On this, yeah, we did. You're correct. You are correct.
At least, I'm not sure. We spoke about it on this, but I know so we did have some mention. Those was talking. Not sure the medium.
That's true. That is true. Now that you say it, I don't know where we said it, but we do have up to this year. So yeah, scratch that. I just said, guys, that was crap. They have told us up to March 31st, and they are, I was looking at, see if I had a summary, but I don't like how the summary look with this company. So yeah, a loss of 5 billion, 4.4 billion Jamaican dollars in losses. Do I have that right? I do not have that right. I'm reading the wrong thing. 3.9 billion that means pretty much the same thing to me. I don't even have 1 billion. 3.9 billion as a loss is the same to me as 4.4. But wow. They're going through it. I don't own any, and I'm sorry for anybody who has owned any for the last long, however. But if you're going in now, speak to your licensed investment advisor about going into XFUND and whether or not it's right for you. If they're telling you anything other than years, then question them heavily. Anybody have anything else they want to say about XFUND, or are we completely done with it?
Anything to add to that? You guys pretty much covered it.
Yeah, XFUND is its own headache. But I want to thank the guys from 876 Invest for sticking with us through this long multi-hour thing.
Indeed.
We've been here for a long time, and thank you, Dan, for sticking through it with me also, and thank you for everybody who is still listening at this point. And we have wrapped the complete market update. So thank you definitely for listening. Thanks everybody, and I'm not gonna lie, we're never gonna do this again.
Yeah.
I am never going to do this again. I got bored.
It's been a boring
after
trip.
After the first one, I was bored. It's not because I don't love it. It's
God.
You've already looked through them and talked about them. I get it.
Right?
We do this all the time, so I do it again just for the show.
Yeah, God. Imagine you talking about it and if you do it for God. Anyway, people don't want to hear us complain. People, I hope you're thankful. I hope it helped you. And look out for something else, look out for something new. Big up 876 Invest for being here. And I'm sure when you guys have some stuff coming, I mean, you'll show me up and we can tell the people about it.
Definitely, no problem.
Yeah. So please, so Schaunn, Henel, Nicholas, thank you for being here. Thanks, Dan, and thanks everybody for listening. This is earnings season.
All right, guys, what's up?
We want more. We need more.
Earnings season, bro.